topic is the Land Reform Act of 1955, or the Land to the Landless program, sought to expropriate and redistribute large states. The law created the Land Tenure Administration, or LTA, which was responsible for the acquisition and distribution of large tenanted rice and corns, land over 300 hectares for individuals and 600 hectares for corporations. So the law's goal was to promote social justice and reduce poverty in rural areas by ensuring that farmers could become landowner instead of tenants. So um, ang batas na ang batas po na ito ay nilikha upang sa pilitang kunin kapalit ng kabayaran at muling ipamahagi ang mga malalaking asyenda or large state. So ang sentro po ng batas na ito ay ang paniniwalang hindi dapat nasa kamay lamang ng isang tao o korporasyon ang sobrang laking lupain, lalo na kung ang mga lupaing ito ay tinatamnan at binubungkal ng mga nangungupahan. Let's proceed to the creation of Land Tenures Administration. So, the Land Tenures, or LTA, is composed or led by 3 officials, chairman and 2 members who are appointed by the president and serve for 5 years. Their main job is to study and understand the problems in the country, such as unfair ownership or lack of access to the land. LTA, they create plans and long-term solutions to fix the issues. It can also investigate areas where are land disputes or difficulties. Lastly, and it helps distribute public lands or the lands owned by the government to tenants and landless citizens, giving them the chance to own and cultivate land. So, sa simpleng salita po, ang land tenure system po ay can determine kung sino po ang pwedeng makagamit ng mga resources at kung gaano katagal at under what condition. How the LTA acts on the petition. So, sa number 1 po is petition or report received. Dito po nagsisimula ang lahat. Tumatanggap po ang LTA ng mga reklamo, sumbong o petisyon mula sa mga nagbubungkal ng lupa or tenants, or pati na rin po sa mga landless citizens, maging sa mga lokal na otoridad tungkol sa mga problema sa pagmamay-ari o paghawak ng lupa. Number 2, investigation. Kapag natanggap na po ang petisyon, isasagawa ng LTA ang masusing investigasyon. Maaari itong isagawa sa mismong lugar, on-site, or sa pamamagitan ng pagsuri ng dokumento. Layunin nitong kolektahin ang mga mahalagang datos tulad kung sino ang may-ari, gaano kalaki ang lupa, at ang mga isyu ng ngupahan kung gaano ito kaproduktibo. Ikatatlo, determination and recommendation. Pagkatapos ng investigasyon, susuriin ng LTA ang problema at tutukuyin ang pinakaangkop na solusyon. Magrerekomenda sila ng mga hakbang tulad ng expropriation sa pilitang pagkuha ng pribadong lupa para ibenta or sa kapalit ng kabayaran or land development. At ikalima, redistribution on monitoring. Ito ang huling yugto kung saan ibinibigay na ang lupa sa mga kwalipikadong benepisyaryo. Tungkulin po nitong patuloy na subaybayan at ang progreso at seguridad na tama at wasto ang paggamit ng lupa ng mga bagong may-ari. Um, Let us proceed to the loopholes. So, number one po is based on the textbook, number one po is exorbitant retention limits. Dahil po sa napakatakdang limitasyon sa lupa na maaaring panatilihin ng may-ari, which is 300 hektarya para sa individual at 600 hektarya para sa korporasyon. Dahil nga po sa mataas ang limitasyong ito, kakaunti lamang ang lupain na kailangang isuko or ibenta ng mga may-ari. Ang malaking porsyento ng mga lupang sinasaka ng mga tenant or nangungupahan ay hindi nasasangkop ng reforma, kaya labis na nalimitahan ang saklaw ng batas. Ikalawa, requirement of agrarian unrest. Ang batas ay limitado lamang sa mga lugar na may justified agrarian unrest o makatuwirang kaguluhan sa agrikultura. Nagbibigay ito ng kapangyarihan sa may-ari ng lupa na may impluwensyang pampolitika na pigilan ang mga ulat ng kaguluhan at hangaring pagpapatupad ng batas sa kanilang probinsya, upang sa gayon ay iniiwasan nilang makuha o ma-expropriate ang kanilang lupa. Number 3 is voluntary sales and stalling. Ang batas ay nagbibigay ng prioridad sa negosasyon sa pagitan ng ahensya ng LTA at ang may-ari ng lupa. Maaaring sa ganitong paraan tumanggi ang mga landowner na ibenta ang kanilang lupa o kaya naman ay sadyang patagalin ng matindi ang negosasyon para matigil ang proseso. So, sa huli ay hindi na matuloy ang pagbili ng LTA. Ikaapat, ang financial burden. Ang batas ay humihingi ng makatarungang kabayaran para sa mga landowner na kadalasang nagre-resulta sa mataas na pagtatasa ng lupa. Ang mataas na gastos na ito ay ipinapasa ng mga tenant o ng mga magiging bagong may-ari kung saan ang bayarin installment payments sa loob ng 25 taon ay naging masyadong mahal. Ginawa itong imposibleng makuha o hindi kaya bilhin ang lupa para sa karaniwang magsasaka. And that's all for my topic. Thank you.
Next subtopic would be is the issuance of the negotiable land certificate. So, paano nga ba tatakbo yung batas na to? First things first, the power shall be vested upon the President of the Philippines to issue negotiable land certificates upon the request of the LTA or the Land Tenure Act. Meaning to say, ang tanging may kapangyarihan lang to issue negotiable land certificate is the President of the Philippines, and only if it is requested by the LTA. These negotiable land certificates are like a government currency or similar to money that you can use or a certain person can use for any government transaction related purposes. So, it should be payable to the bearer with the amount of 1,000 pesos or more, and it should be presented at the central bank. It has 4 specific purpose or uses. First is you can use it to pay for agricultural lands that is government owned. You can use it as a currency, again similar to what I've said earlier. You can use it as a currency or pambayad if you were trying to purchase any government owned property for agricultural purposes. Second is you can use it to buy or have a share stocks to any industrial corporation organization that is again owned by the government. Third is you can use it to pay for any monetary obligations or debt, or just taxes overall na if ever you have in the government. And fourth or last is you can use it as a surety bond. A surety bond is something that is a legal contract which ensures that you are protected. Unlike insurance kasi is the policyholder is the only protected, or they only have the capacity to control. This surety bond, you can use this to secure any transaction you're gonna have with the government, that they're gonna take accountability or responsibility if ever mag-fail yung contract. So overall, these four mentioned in the PowerPoint, these are all the purpose for this negotiable land certificate. So ginawa siya to make sure that everything is fair and everything is equal for the bearer or for the owner whose land is gonna be purchased. Okay, so as for the loopholes of this provision, the issuance of negotiable land certificates. So the main loophole or the bigger picture to look at would be that hindi lahat ng landowners willing na tumanggap ng negotiable land certificate as a payment. Kasi of course, everybody prefers cash, 'di ba? Not everybody, but most of the people, kasi yun yung pinaka-urgent, or yung pinaka-direct na gamit or way of transaction nowadays. And pangalawa, the amount of the certificate is sometimes change, or it's not constant. Minsan lumiliit yung value nito, so it's just a matter of trust na yung landowners is magdududa or mawawalan sila ng tiwala just because the amount is less than expected. Like, it's not the same unlike cash, so another issue yun. And then as for the third, probably at the fourth, as for the third, since payable to the bearer siya, pwede siyang ibenta to someone na hindi naman intended beneficiary. Madali siyang ma-manipulate or maabuso as for that matter. And also, for last is that matagal yung transaction in this case. Sobrang tagal that it takes a lot of time. So, landowners would just gonna use a handful amount of time. Same goes naman po for the tenant. Both of them are gonna use a lot of time for this process. And again, it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, and yun po, mas mapapadami po yung gastos and hassle. But more so po, it is all just about improving the act overall, or the certain provisions under this act, since its purpose naman po is there, and the government wouldn't implement such act na hindi naman po screen through or hindi naman po nasuri ng maayos. So it's just a matter of a little bit of fixing or revision, especially in the part na matagal po talaga yung proseso. So a lot of landowners would refuse. Therefore, mas nagiging mahirap po yung daloy po ng pagpapatupad ng batas na to. Okay, so prior to my discussion earlier, bakit nga ba mayroong negotiable land certificate? So, mayroong negotiable land certificate. It is under my next subtopic would be the land subject to purchase. Under this subtopic, it is mentioned that the LTA or the Land Tenure Act can negotiate to the landowner to purchase a certain agricultural land if the majority of the tenants, farmers in that land agreed to file for a petition. So, meaning to say, if you're working on it, let's say for an example, you were working on a certain farm that is private owned, and majority of the tenant or majority of you farmers agreed that this land is nice or it's good for any agricultural plans you have, you can sign or you can ask for the LTA na mag-file ng petition if you're going to purchase that land. So, kaya meron negotiable land certificates. These negotiable land certificates should be the currency na ibibigay ng LTA to the owner. But it can bawal siyang certificate lahat. It should have a certificate and a cash, but again, it's gonna be discussed in the other subtopic kung alin nga ba, but that's so far as all I know. Okay, so let's talk about as for the loopholes in this land subject to purchase. The first obvious loophole would be paano pag ayaw nung landowner na ibenta yung lupa niya. That's one major problem. Siyempre, hindi naman lahat, especially if it has something emotional, let's say, pamana pa yun ng lolo mo, you would have to fight for that certain right na hindi mo ibebenta. Pangalawang loophole would be, hindi lahat ng tenants kayang ipaglaban or hindi sapat yung resources nila to purchase that certain agricultural land even if it benefits them. So basically kulang sila sa resources. Pangatlo is matagal yung proseso na to. It takes probably around 19 days only to finalize everything. Hindi pa yun yung buong proseso. So matagal siya, magastos, and very hassle. And lastly is that it can cause certain issues na personal na, like let's say harassment or conflict since you're just a worker on that certain land. So mas may authority pa din yung landowner. So that's all the loopholes so far. But other than that is meron naman siyang goal that is so far being achieved. Like for its title na lang itself, land for the landless program. So it doesn't defeat the purpose overall despite its loophole. So it's just a matter of fixing it or improvising or more onto just fixing the certain issues, things like that, especially for both the landowners and the tenant.
Next topic is Payment Section 14. Section 14 outlines how the Land Tenure Administration pay landowners for agricultural land acquired for redistribution. So we have a total of 3 different payment methods. So the first one is wholly in land certificate, the second one is partly in legal tender and partly in land certificate, and the last one is barter or exchange. So for the first one is wholly in land certificate. It pertains that the LTA can pay the entire purchase price by only using land certificate, which are like government IOUs defined as a debt security issued by the government to borrow money from investors. So when we say naman, partly in legal tender and partly in land certificates, it pertains that the LTA could combine both, wherein the legal tender is cash, but the cash portion cannot exceed 50% of the total entire purchase price. When we say naman barter or exchange, is if the landowner desired and if the LTA agreed, the payment method could be made by barter or exchange with government-owned residential, commercial, or industrial land. So for further understanding, I have an example. So yung example is, may magsasaka na nagtitinda ng kanyang lupa sa gobyerno, which is naghalaga ng 6 million pesos. So under land certificates, the LTA could pay the landowner by only using land certificates. So kabuuang bayad na yon, yung 6 million pesos ay babayaran ng LTA by using land certificate. Pero pag partly in legal tender and partly in land certificate naman, ay kalahati ng ibabayad ng LTA ay by cash, which is half ng 6 million pesos, which is 3 million pesos. Tapos yung natitirang 3 million pesos naman ay babayaran ng LTA by using land certificate. Tapos, dito naman sa barter or exchange, if the two parties agreed, they can choose the payment method, barter or exchange, wherein mag-offer nga yung LTA ng mga government-owned residential sa landowner in exchange of the land.
Good day everyone, I am Rema Cerato and I will be discussing the Land Reform Act of 1955, specifically the Republic Act No. 1400 and its provision on expropriation of private agricultural lands. So, the expropriation of private agricultural lands is a very complex and madalas ay pinagmulan ito ng mga issues and controversies. Yung expropriation of private agricultural lands is nagbibigay ng kapangyarihan ng eminent domain ng government laban sa karapatan ng may-ari ng lupa. So what is expropriation? Expropriation is yung act ng government ng pagkuha ng privately owned properties para gamitin sa public use. For example, yung purpose ng expropriation is for irrigation project. Gumagawa sila ng irrigation system para mag-support ng mga local farmers. So, sabi nga dito is, yung LTA daw is may initiate a prosecute expropriation proceedings for the acquisition of private agricultural lands. Pagkatapos nilang mag-comply ng mga requirements upon petition of the majority of the tenants, and after it is convinced and suitability of such land subdivision into family-sized farm units, and that public interest will be served its immediate acquisition when any of the following condition exist. Yung dalawang conditions na to is nag-i-exist. Yung first is that the landowner is falling within the terms of Section 6, Paragraph 2, continues to refuse to sell efforts have been exhausted by the LTA to negotiate its purchase. Yung landowner is continue pa rin na nagre-refuse after ng LTA or ng land tenure administration na gawin yung lahat para kunin yung lupa o bilhin yung lupa na yon. For example nito is si Juan. Si Juan is the landowner and then 50 hectares. Purpose ng expropriation is yung dam and irrigation system. Yung land tenure administration o LTA is na-identify nila na yung land ni Juan is suitable para sa project na irrigation nila na gagawin. And then nag-offer sila kay Juan na 5 million per hectares. Bibilihin nila yon 5 million per hectares. And however, nag-refuse si Juan kasi naniniwala siya na yung 8 million per hectares yung land, yung worth ng land niya yon 8 million per hectares. Tapos yung LTA is patuloy pa rin silang kinukumbinsi o nagpapadala sila ng team kay Juan na para makipag-ayos kasi gusto nga nilang kunin yung lupa na yon kasi suitable yon para sa kanilang project na gagawin. Patuloy sila nagsisend na para makumbinsi lang si Juan, and then si Juan is patuloy pa rin siyang nagre-refuse kasi nga hindi niya gusto yung gustong kabayaran ng LTA na pagkuha ng kanyang lupa or hektarya. So, yung LTA is nag-proceed sila ng proceedings sa court. And then, yung court yung magde-determine if ilan or
ilang milyon yung ibabayad sa kay Juan para makuha ng LTA yung lupa. At patuloy pa rin na nagre-refuse si Juan is pwede nang umabot yun sa court. So, after nilang mag-proceed sa court is sabi ng court na sila kasi yung magdi-decide if ilan yung babayaran para sa lupa na yon. And then, pag nag-decide, for example, nag-decide yung court na 6.5 million yung katarungang kabayaran para sa land ni Juan is, yung government is, yun yung babayaran kay Juan. So, pag katapos nun is, hindi pwedeng mag-refuse si Juan kasi nasa court na yun. Pwedeng makulong din si Juan kapag nag-refuse pa rin siya. Kasi nga, sinabi ng government, sinabi ng court na yun yung katarungang kabayaran para sa lupa niya. So, pagkatapos nun is the government takes possession to the land and yung project is pwede nang gawin sa private property na yon kasi sa kanila tayo binili na nila. Number 2, that the landowner is willing to sell under the Section 11 and 12 but cannot agree with the LTA as to the price and or the manner of its payment. For example naman is si Maria, may 20 hectares siya tapos yung purpose naman ng expropriation ng land na yun is for public market. And then si Maria is willing siya, first pa lang is willing si Maria na ibenta yung lupa niya, yung 20 hectares na yon kasi nga under the Section 11 and 12 nasa batas na kailangan niyang ibenta yung lupa. But however, hindi sila nagkasundo sa bayad o sa kung paanong pagbayad kasi yung gusto ni Maria is yung lupa is 6 million per hectares and then yung kaya lang i-provide ng LTA is 4 million per hectares. Hindi sila nagkasundo sa price pa lang and also yung manners ng pagbabayad o yung way ng pagbabayad ng LTA is gusto ng LTA is 5 years yung hulugan, ganon. And then, yung gusto naman ni Maria is isang bagsakan lang, yung bayad ka agad. I think, di na kailangan umabot ng 1 year, ganon. Kung gusto niya kukunin yung lupa is magbabayad agad sila. And then, pwede din magpo-proceed din sila sa court kapag hindi pumayag si Maria. Magpo-proceed sila sa court. And then, sa hukuman para makuha yung lupa. And then sabi, for example, for my first example, kagaya ng kay Juan, na yung court yung magde-determine if paano at kung ilan yung babayaran ng LTA para ma-expropriate yung private land na yon. So, kapag na-settle doon sa court, pwede na yon hahayaan na ng hukuman at saka yung may pahintulot na yung government na kunin yung lupa and then gawin yung projects na pwede nilang gawin sa lupa na yun.
Our next topic is all about possession of the land and its procedure. Immediate possession of the land upon deposit with the court, which has the administration after commencing the expropriation suit, may take acquired jurisdiction over the expropriation of money or a certificate of deposit of a depository of the Republic of the Philippines as provided in Section 3 of Rule 69 of the Rules of Court equal to the value
Against
of the land
alienation.
as provisionally
Landowners
determined
filing
by the court,
petitions
taking
under
into
Section
consideration the
12 and
factors
16
mentioned
cannot
in
sell the
Section
land in
12,
question
paragraph
except as
2.
permitted by the
this
Act.
topic
Eviction
or
of
this section
tenants
all
is
about
also
the
blocked
Philippine government
until
or the
acquisition
Philippine
status is
administration
determined.
can take
So, bawal
possession
ipagbili,
of private
ilipat
land
o
through the
ipagkaloob ang mga
process called
sakahan na
expropriation.
binili ng
Means the
Estado
government
sa mga
legal right to
may-ari
take
nito
private
upang
property for public
ipamahagi
use
sa
as
mga
long as
magsasakang
it
walang
gives
lupa.
owner fair
So, what
payment
is the
or
purpose
compensation.
of
So
this
in short,
prohibition?
pag sinabi natin
Tinitiyak nito
expropriation, it
na
is
ang
the
mga
process
lupa ay
na
mapunta sa mga
yung
landless na
proseso o
mamamayan
yung action
na
ng
siyang
government
pag-asa ng
para
gobyerno
makuha
na
yung
makalikha
mga
ng
pribadong
pamilya-laki
lupa
na
for public
sakahan.
uses. Like for example, gagawin itong tulay, gagawin itong paaralan, gagawin itong flood control. So expropriation is part siya sa sinasabi nating eminent domain. So the eminent domain is the power or right of the government para mag-possess in land for public use. Like for example, yung in-example ko kanina, kunwari gagawa ng school, gagawa ng tulay, gagawa ng flood control, gagawa ng hospital, or kung ano pa mang mga establishment na mapapakinabangan ng mga tao. As long as the government is bibigyan nila ng tamang bayad yung may-ari ng lupa habang ongoing pa yung kaso. So, kung ipagkukumpara natin yung expropriation sa eminent domain, halos magkatugma. So, kung ang pagkakaiba nila, pag sinabi natin expropriation, it's the process or action. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi natin expropriation, ito yung proseso or legal na pamamaraan para kunin yung mga pribadong lupa. So, the eminent domain is the power or right. So, meaning, hindi na ito makukuha sa government kasi nakalagay na ito sa batas. No? So, kung babasahin natin yung Section 3, Rule 69 of the Court Rules, pertains to the appointment of commissioners to the partition property when co-owners cannot agree. If the parties are unable to voluntarily divide their jointly owned property, the court will appoint not more than 3 competent and disinterested commissioners to take the partition for them. So once daw yung parties, like the owner and the co-owner, is hindi sila nag-agree sa petition or sa amount ng lupa na gusto nila, will the court is kukuha ng mga commissioners. Like for example, andyan yung engineer, the lawyer, or the surveyor, para sila yung tumulong para gawin yung partition para sa kanila. So, yung unang decision is sa mga owner and co-owner muna. Tapos, pag hindi sila nag-agree sa partition na gusto nila, so yung korte, yung pangalawang gagawa ng partition para sa kanila. Through the help of commissioners. No? So, the Section 12, Paragraph 2, determining the real or fair value of the land and its condition. Within 60 days of preliminary negotiation, conduct investigations and technical surveyors to determine title to the land and its real value taking into account. So dito sa Section 12, Paragraph 2, dito na papasok yung pag-investigate ng government para malaman yung totoong value ng lupang gusto nilang kunin. Ang una dito is prevailing prices of similar lands in the immediate area. So the government ay mag-investigate sila sa mga kalapit or sa mga katabing lupa para magtanong kung if ever man nabibilhin nila yung lupa, magtatanong sila if yung price ba ng isang lupa is same sa price ng kalapit na lupa. So, the letter B is the soil condition, topography, and climate hazard. So, mag-investigate din yung government if yung lupa ba na yun is enough siya para gumawa. Like for example, yung example ko kanina, enough ba siya para gumawa ng mga tulay, gumawa ng mga kalsada, gumawa ng paralan. Letter C is the actual production. Kung itong lupa ba na ito ay dating sakahan or may dati ba ito ditong pinagkukunan ng mga produkto. Like for example, dati ba ito tinataniman ng palay. The letter D is the accessibility and location. Like for example, yung amount ng lupa gusto nilang kunin is nakadepende sa location. So like for example, yung lupang gusto nila is nasa malayo or nasa mga rural area. Like kung ito ba ay malapit sa city, so of course iba yung amount doon kasi mas maraming maka-access ng lupang iyon. So kung ito ba ay dating main road or ito ba ay for national road, yung lupa ba ito is nasa city or nasa barangay lang, so magkakaiba yung value depende sa location. So lastly, the improvements. So if yung lupa ba yan is pwede lagyan ng building or sapat ba yung lakas ng lupa para gumawa ng mga public establishment. So pag sinabi nating Depository of the Republic of the Philippines, dito nilalagay yung mga deposit ng government. So ibig sabihin sila lang muna yung hahawak ng perang dineposit. So pag sinabi naman nating compensation, it is the payment or money na ibibigay sa landowner habang hindi pa final. Like for example, ito yung temporary na bayad habang ongoing pa yung case, no? Of course, the amount of money na ibibigay sa owner is dapat estimated value muna ng lote habang hindi pa nade-determine kung ano yung tunay na halaga ng lupa, no?
Petition against alienation. Landowners filing petitions under Section 12 and 16 cannot sell the land in question except as permitted by the Act. Eviction of tenants is also blocked until acquisition status is determined. So, bawal ipagbili, ilipat o ipagkaloob ang mga sakahan na binili ng Estado sa mga may-ari nito upang ipamahagi sa mga magsasakang walang lupa. So, what is the purpose of this prohibition? Tinitiyak nito na ang mga lupa ay mapunta sa mga landless na mamamayan na siyang pag-asa ng gobyerno na makalikha ng pamilyalaki na sakahan.
Hi everyone, I am Kimiko Leila Piña, and for today I'm going to discuss the action on the petition. For the first one, it is within 30 days, determines on the basis of the information contained in the petition, the suitability of the land for purchase, notify the petitioner and landowner accordingly, and fix the date for the preliminary negotiation. And for the second one, it is within 60 days from the preliminary negotiation, where they conduct a investigation and a technical service to determine to the land and its real value, taking accounts such as the prevailing prices of a similar land in the immediate area, the soil condition, topography and climate hazards, the actual production, the accessibility, and the improvements. Well, for the last one, it is fixed within 90 days from the preliminary negotiation, where the date for final negotiation is determined. So when the Land Tenure Administration receives a petition, it has to take certain steps to make sure that everything about the land is properly checked and discussed between the landowner and the petitioner. These steps have a specific limits to process and will be organized and fair to the both sides. As what I've said earlier, for the within 30 days, the Land Tenure Administration will review a petition to see if the land mentioned is suitable for purchase. They will look for an information provided of the petition to decide if the land can be part of the program. Then after checking, the LTA will inform the both sides, the petitioner and the landowner, about the result, then set a schedule or a date for the first meeting called the preliminary negotiation. This is where both sides start to discuss the details. Then for the within 60 days from the preliminary negotiation, the Land Tenure Administration will carry out an investigation and a technical survey to learn more about the land. They will verify who owns it and how much it is really worth. To find the true value, they will look at the several factors such as the prices of similar lands in the area, the soil conditions, topography, and the climate risk, the actual production or what the land produces, then how easy it is to access the area. These details will help them decide on a fair value and make sure that the land fit for purchase. Then for within 90 days, or the last one, it is the fix within 90 days from the preliminary negotiation. It is the after the investigation and the service, the Land Tenure Administration will set a date for the final negotiation. This is when the both parties and the landowner, the petitioner, will meet again to finalize the terms, including the price and other important details about the produce of the land. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Okay, and for the last topic, it is all about the resale of land purchase or expropriated subject to conditions. So, under this provision, pag nabili na nung gobyerno through the LTA, yung lupa na yon, yung private agricultural land na yon, they have the all means na ipamahagi yung lupa yun sa mga qualified tenants or farmers. However, take note na kailangan ay they have certain restrictions or limitations, such as bawal nila itong hati-hatiin, ibenta, or ilipat ang lupa. And also, it should be given to certain qualified farmers lang talaga. This is done mainly para maiwasan yung pagbalik ng lupa na yon sa mga mayayaman na gagamitin lamang to or aabusuhin lamang to. So, everything in this provision or in this part, it should have or it should be annotated in the Torrens title to whoever is going to use that certain land. They should be abided by that certain regulations or restrictions, so they know what they're going to do, they know what to do, and they should be able to use the land or the agricultural land properly.